Hello, everyone, and welcome to another GHAA, Greater Haverhill Arts Association Meet the Artist. This is a chance for you to meet members of the Greater Haverhill Arts Association. I am Joan Turner, and I am going to be your hostess today. And today we are going to meet someone that you will absolutely love. Mindy is an exceptional artist and person. I met her personally, and you will absolutely love her. So hold on to your seat. You're in for a treat. Hello. Hi, Mindy. How are you, darling?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on today.
You are very welcome, everyone. This is Mindy Metrano from Mindy Paper. And I was looking at your website. It is absolutely awesome.
Oh,
And
thank you.
besides, so tell us a little bit about the name and then tell us about you and stuff. Actually, we want to know everything you want to tell us.
Okay, so I'll tell you about the name. Um, the name of my business is Mindy Paper. Mindy is my childhood nickname, and the paper part is kind of dual fold. So I am a paper artist. I do folding of paper and drawing on paper, but I've always really been fascinated with paper. Even did my senior thesis on paper samples and that sort of thing. But when I went to name my business, I sat down and thought about what am I doing with this? What is the goal of this business in my life? And the goal was to keep creativity in my life. And so that brought me back to a childhood movie I used to watch, Puff the Magic Dragon. And in that movie, the storyline is that a little boy named Jackie Paper, he has an imaginary dragon. And then when he grows up, that world kind of dies and he has to come back and bring it back to life. So Mindy Paper is my way of keeping my dragon alive in my adult life.
I love it. I absolutely love that. And I was reading that little bit of story on your website, or I can't remember which because I was looking all over the place. And I thought, how awesome is that? Keeping that so fresh. So tell us about you because you were in New York. Where were you born?
I was born in New York,
In New
upstate New
York.
York,
Okay.
near Lake Ontario, so way, way up north.
Way, way up north.
And I call it my first life. So, I went to school and I got married up there and then I got divorced. And when I moved to Massachusetts, that was my second life, my second chance. And I've really flourished here in Massachusetts with my art. I think being closer to Boston, there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of energy. And yeah, I'm in a
Totally. Yeah, we are so lucky to have you here. The first time I think I met you was at the GHAA Arts Festival
good.
in the park, and I'm like looking at these cookies and things, and there's like art on them, and I'm like, "What? You painted these? What is up? What is up with that?" And they taste good too. So
Oh, thank you.
that was awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah,
So
so I've branched in. So my I have a degree in graphic design. That's how I, you know, made my art profitable, right? So you can you can live a little bit and
and
still
have
be,
a roof over your head.
yeah, yeah. Um, so I've had a graphic design business for years and years and years. But when I moved to Massachusetts, um, I had heard that they were really friendly to cottage bakers, which are people that bake from their home kitchen. You have to get
Say it
inspected, and
again. What kind of bakers?
it's called cottage baking.
Cottage baking. Oh,
That's
okay.
when you bake from your home kitchen. You have to get inspected by the health department and all that sort of
Sure.
stuff. But Massachusetts makes it relatively simple, the steps you have to go through.
Cool.
And I figured out this was a way for me to do art and not fill up my house with art.
I don't understand that at all. Every single wall in my house is covered with art.
Yeah, so I can make a portrait on a cookie. This is my husband here. And then you can just
He is a very nice looking cookie. Nice.
and you can save it. which that one I've saved, but then you can eat it. So you can be
Well,
creative. You can make
well,
your art.
okay, so that's what I was going to ask you. You're doing this awesome. It's going to take you forever to do something like that. How do you preserve it? How do you, can you preserve it and then eat it
You can preserve it. You can either preserve it or you can eat it.
eat it? Okay, all right. So how do you
So
preserve them? You
so
shellac them?
you can shellac them, but this cookie is over a year old and it looks fine. So
Yeah, it does.
the amount of sugar that is in a cookie and is in the icing really acts as a very strong preservative. As
So
long
you
as
could eat that cookie? You
you
could
would,
eat that
I mean, it'd
cookie?
be stale. You wouldn't want to eat
All
it,
right, I was gonna say it's a year old. I didn't know. All right.
I keep them in sealed and heat sealed bags,
Okay.
and then that keeps the moisture out.
Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. So how long did it take you to make the cookie and then decorate it?
Let's see. So baking and making the cookie, I mean, that's a negligible amount of time, maybe an hour. You've made cutout cookies. I'm sure most of us have.
Yeah.
The decorating, excuse me, is what takes the most time. So you have to do multiple layers. You have to wait for a layer to dry. You have to come back. You have to add more detail. Then you add texture on top.
So what are you painting? Are you using colored frosting? Oh my gosh.
So this is a little door for a leprechaun.
Let me see the back. What's the back look like?
Oh, it's just a
It's just a cookie.
cookie that I rounded on a pan. But you'll see, I've got these crystals on there. You've
Yeah.
got this red layer
Oh,
that had to
cool.
dry, and then you add in the moss. And then
So
I brushed details. So there's a dry pigment powder that you can brush in the cracks to
dry
add.
pigment powder. What are you painting with? Are you painting with frosting?
Both. So you can paint with frosting or food coloring. I will paint like his face is painted with food coloring. So you just mix it to whatever consistency paint you want it to be.
Does he have all those teeth really?
Yes, he does. He
Yeah.
has a great big smile.
I
But
love
you
it.
can also paint with the icing. So you
Oh,
can
wow.
like layer. You'll see the dark brown on
Yep.
the
On her
leg
leg. Yeah.
is icing. But then I went in and did some low lights, some shading with actual brown food coloring.
I did not know we had brown food coloring. Or did you mix red and green together?
Um, Once you get into the world of cookieing, which is what they call cookie decorating,
Cookie
there's
ing.
a whole line of products just for that. There's pigmented powders, which are much stronger in color. There's the gel color that's a little bit lighter. There's some opaque whites, everything that you would get if you were painting on a canvas. This canvas just happens to be edible.
And it's very small. But you're
Yes.
using very small detail brushes. Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
need special brushes to do that?
No, I mean, if you're going to be feeding them to someone, you want to use clean brushes that have never, touched pigment that isn't for food. You want to keep those separate.
Sure.
Um,
Why? No.
I mean, other than that, no, not really.
Wow. Wow. It's, I don't know how I got to this age and knew absolutely nothing about this. I mean, I've seen decorated cookies before, but nothing like not in the depth and your level of ability. I've not ever seen anything like that in my entire life. How long have you been doing this?
I've been doing the cookies for just about 2 years.
2 years, that's it?
Yep, but I've been an artist since I
Since forever.
was a child, so
Yeah.
the skills very easily translate over.
It does. Okay. That was going to be my next question. It's going to be a lot more of a challenge to paint on a cookie than a canvas or,
So when you're using the royal icing to paint with, you're
uh-huh.
gonna, um, it's all about consistency. So these flowers are a thicker consistency paint versus painting his
That's
face with
skin.
like a watercolor. So, this is like an acrylic or an oil.
So
texture.
are you controlling that or do you buy them already that way? You're controlling
Um,
it.
you mix your own colors, you mix your own consistencies.
Consistencies. Very
Yep.
cool, very cool. And that when I was looking at your site, you have a special Mother's Day coming up. Do you want to
I
show
do.
people? You want to show people?
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
let me go ahead and share my screen here and I'll show you what's coming up.
Yeah, wait till you guys see it. It's awesome.
Okay, so here we go. This is my website. It's mindypaper.com. I have cookies here as well as my artwork, which I'm still filling in the art side of this. So I've got a couple of events coming up. I'm going to be set up at this Mayflower Market in Chelmsford on Mother's Day weekend. So that Saturday, you can come out and buy beautiful cookies from me. But you can also have tea and cookie decorating with me in Chelmsford on Saturday, May 14th. We'll be learning how to decorate these beautiful hat cookies and a teacup and a little pastry tray. And then in the
Even the
middle,
pastry tray?
even the this cookie right here, yeah, this round
Oh, okay, cool.
tray cookie. And in the middle of decorating, we're going to stop. We're going to have some tea. We're going to eat some sample cookies that I'll bring along because you really can't decorate cookies and not have something to nibble on at the same
I
time.
I totally agree. I totally agree.
Yep. And if you want to do this, you can even pick up a little invitation if you're going to give it as a gift to hand
Oh.
to your mother on Mother's Day. It's the weekend afterwards.
And
So
that's in Tewksbury,
that's
May
very, yeah.
Tewksbury.
Mhm.
So where in Tewksbury are you
So
at?
yes, I work with the Open Space Gift Shop and Creative Studio.
Okay,
They do classes
very
and they host local artists. So you can go, if you go there, you'll be able to see a whole bunch of local artists. And the same thing with the Mayflower Market. That's
uh-huh.
hosted by the Old Mill House Coffee Shop in Chelmsford. And they
Sure.
do the same thing. It's an artist collaborative type of
Sure.
thing.
Oh, awesome. That's awesome.
So I think that's enough of my screen sharing. Please check out my website. You can see all the many things that I do there.
You can show your website. You could show your website if you have things you want to point out there. That would be awesome.
I'd like to show you what I've been doing. Oh, excuse me, that's my cat sneezing in the background.
Oh, kitty, kitty. What's the cat's name?
Sam, his name is Samson,
Sam.
because he's big and strong. Sam,
Samson. Yeah. He's like keeping an eye on things.
yeah. We'll go back to my website. I wanted to show you my most recent endeavor in the, I would call them art books. So I've been
Oh.
teaching myself how to hand bind miniature books.
You like working in really little tiny spaces.
Yeah, I do. I do.
Oh my goodness.
So
That is
this
so
is, yeah, this is using like reclaimed paper. This is old Monopoly money as the pages in there and some, vintage pictures or whatever.
I
Um,
see them.
so this is what I've been exploring recently outside of the cookie world. I'm just starting to see the potential there for how this can be a representation of art or expression of some sort of art. I figure I could get a combination of pictures together and tell a story with reclaimed materials and stuff like that. So,
So so the Monopoly money and stuff, does it stay Monopoly money or you change it into something else?
so this book is bound. So I
Yeah,
bound all the pages in there, and now it's Monopoly money, but there still is a blank
on the
side
back.
to it. So
Yeah,
it still could become a sketchbook or a pad or whatever. Um,
cool. Very cool.
so that's the latest thing that
So,
I've been doing.
so how do you bind first of all, I have no clue how you bind a book, but how the heck do you
Oh,
bind one that small?
oh, sure. Yeah, it's sewn. Do you see the stitches there on the back?
Those three stitches?
Yeah. So if you look, there's a seam. So these pages are in sections. They're called signatures. So this is a
Oh,
slab
wow.
of pages, and then I sewed in the middle into the back.
And what's the cover made out of?
This is reclaimed leather, so I believe it's
Leather.
an old leather skirt that I bought at the Salvation Army or thrift store.
You
Yeah.
did? That
Yes.
is awesome. That is totally awesome. So now will you write on the is the book gonna have a title and all that good stuff?
Right now it's just graphic, so it's just whatever the pages say, that's what the book will say.
We'll say.
But I am looking into like painting on those pages. I've been expanding my watercolor skills a little bit, and things like this could show up inside of the pages.
Oh, cool.
So you'll see this is another thing where I'm using layers of paper
Yeah.
to add depth and stuff to the artwork.
Nice. Very nice.
Because I started with three-dimensional paper products. This is a very old piece, but very representational of my style. So it's a book that's been cut out, and then I have this three-dimensional deer inside, mounted inside of the book. And
And
this
you
is,
don't close the book, right?
no, well, I
Or
mean, you
d-
could, but
well, I didn't know if it was gonna fold up or not. Everything else is so
uh,
I'm like, that's
yeah, it doesn't
awesome. That's
move.
awesome.
It doesn't move. But that's what I did for many, many years. That's like I like to use my hands and do three-dimensional artwork. And so probably I'm doing small pieces because I can't store a whole bunch of large three-dimensional artwork. Where's it gonna go?
It should go to some big exhibits, like in the Boston area, is where it
Yeah,
should go.
yeah.
We'll talk about that one after. So where are you exhibiting these? Where are you exhibiting them now? I know some with the Greater Havel Arts Association.
Yes, so I am associated with the Greater Haverhill Arts Association. I also have art pieces at the Old Mill House Coffee Shop. So they're an artist collaborative along with Open Space Creative Studio and Gift Shop. They're also an artist collaborative.
Nice, nice.
Um, I've really been, I mean, it doesn't look like it because I'm showing you all the stuff I'm excited about, but I've been really stepping back right now because I have a 2-year-old.
Nice.
So I'm
Yeah,
allowing myself,
and you guys have been sick as
yes.
well. So
Yeah, well, that's what daycare does that. I mean, you're sick every every
yeah,
month.
I mean, there's so many kids there. If you don't catch something, something's
Uh,
wrong.
Yeah,
Totally.
so I'm still being creative, but I haven't been as involved as I would like to be because I'm giving him my time right now, and that's okay.
Oh, it's definitely okay. Family comes first, for sure, for sure. So,
Yep.
how did you ever get interested in it? I mean, it's so different than what I'm using. How did you get interested in this? You saw someone do it. You thought, what? How did you even conceive of this?
Well, the cookies came. My husband gifted me a cookie decorating class for my birthday, and it was fun. And I saw a whole bunch of potential, because I could see the translation of art into cookies. Um, and then COVID hit, and I was home with my son, who was 6 months at the time. And I was like, oh, well, it's nice to be home with my son. Maybe we can make this happen. And then that's where that went, just like, okay, let's see if we can make this work.
Yeah, yeah.
And I kind of, once I have an idea, I kind of run with it. So within a month, I was licensed and inspected, and we were doing it. So
I think that's amazing. It's like you made up your mind and then you took the steps to actually do it, which I think is where most people get fouled up. They have the ideas and they even maybe have some ideas about what steps to take, but then when it actually comes to doing them, they're a little bit like, oh, I don't know. So did you ever see anyone do anything like this before? Or is it just something you conceived in your own head?
well, I'd seen those fancy cookies you get at weddings and stuff, and
Yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
didn't, they didn't really excite me. I mean, it's a big flour and it doesn't taste really good,
Yeah, that's right. I was just thinking that they might have been pretty, but they didn't taste that great.
Yeah, so when I did it, I decided I was going to focus on the recipe, make sure my cookies tasted good, but also I don't want to be I don't want to be making 10 dozen cookies a week for birthday parties. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to think outside of that. So that's where I came back to my artist self and I was like, okay, what can I do? Portraits. Yeah. I mean, let's see how that works. Creative art pieces. So I've got a piece here that I designed um, for myself and it's called Motherhood.
Oh, nice.
So this is me in the center and my art represented before my child and then how it translated after
After.
my child. Um, so that sort of way to make art a little more accessible because it's a
And
cookie. So
personal.
like it
Yeah.
brings it down a notch without uh, I don't know what the word is. You know what I'm trying to say,
I
right?
do. I think it really makes it personal to, I mean, it takes art out of the esoteric and brings it into the everyday world. That's
Yeah.
extremely cool.
Yeah.
So did you have a mentor or did you just, it was kind of experiment? This works, this doesn't work?
Definitely experimentation. I will say that the woman that taught me the cookie decorating class was very supportive of me. Her name is Renee, and she owns Sweet Cheeks by Renee in Amesbury. That's her cookie decorating business. And she also has a similar story. She had a young child at home and wanted to, be able to make that work. And her cookies have been um, just watching her artistically, her cookies are out of this world. Like the amount of detail and style and design she puts into them, amazing. So she's definitely not
Wow.
a mentor than someone I look up to.
Yeah, something to aspire to. I don't know. I can't even imagine. Your cookies seem that way to me.
Thank
So
you.
where do your ideas and inspirations come from? Just everyday life?
Yes, so as you can tell, I'm influenced by the Art Nouveau period, Muka, natural things, flowers and stuff. But if I see something beautiful, I take a picture of it, I take a snapshot. I have scrapbooks full of pages from magazines and stuff, really old school. I've got clippings, and if I want to get inspired, I pick one thing and then I go through all my stuff and I pull together all these samples and then I create from those references. So,
So you're just kind of moving around. Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite subject matter?
hmm,
Hmm.
hmm, no,
No, just whatever strikes your fancy.
when I get inspired, I have to write it down because I've tried to force the design and it just doesn't
Does
work.
not work. It totally
No.
doesn't work. I agree. What is the worst part of your job and what's the best part?
The worst part is I know I shouldn't say this, but it's dealing with customers.
She didn't say that. She didn't say that. You know what?
Well,
I totally understand what you're saying though, because trying to translate what they're saying into what you're seeing in your head can be two totally different things.
yeah. So there's a learning curve, especially with artistic cookies, is getting people to appreciate their worth.
That's true. Very true. I can see that.
So you have to set up in your mind there are people that are not my customers and they don't know that they're not my customers because they want my cookies, but they don't want to pay for my cookies. And I'm glad you appreciate my artistic cookies, but no, I cannot sell them to you for whatever it is you're
Whatever you
asking.
have in your mind. You
Yeah,
know, that's a valid point. And I mean, I know that we're talking about cookies, but just art in general, I find that to be true. The artists will recognize, that, oh, we should probably put in this much time and so on and so forth. But those who are not don't. So
right.
people who don't understand your process and what you're going through don't appreciate it financially. But just one of those. How long does it take you? How long did it take you to do the cookie of your husband?
That was probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours.
I think that's awesome. I thought you were going to say 4 or 5 because
Well,
there's
I
so
would
much
have,
detail on there.
well, there's drying time. I'm not counting the drying time.
Yeah, but you have to because you're layering it, you're waiting, you dry. So, I mean, you're still taking up your time, right?
Yeah.
So am I putting you on the spot if I ask you how much they go for, or should people just go look on your website?
Oh, no, no problem at all.
Okay,
I've got a set pricing schema. So
okay,
you order a dozen custom cookies from me, not portrait. And they start at $70 a dozen, $5 for each additional cookie. Portraits are separate priced, $20 a cookie per portrait.
okay. So do you find that the people who order those want them like I want to say varnished. I know that's not the right word. Do they want to keep them as keepsakes, like they're giving them away as favors, or do they want to eat them?
So the portrait cookies that I have done have been gifts, like surprise gifts to someone.
Okay,
And
yep.
I don't know if they've been varnished. I did get some feedback that they were delicious. So
So they
maybe
ate them.
you.
All right. So at that price point, you're probably appealing to a certain clientele.
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Well, that is totally what I thought. So that's that. Okay. So I can understand that that would be the most challenging part. What's the funnest part?
Oh, when I get to sit down with a blank cookie and just an idea.
It's me an idea and a cookie.
That's
So
right.
do you ever make any humongous cookies?
Oh, yes. I made a giant cookie that looked like a newspaper cover. It had a portrait in the middle. It had the newspaper text. Oh, it was lovely. That was a birthday gift.
Do you do lettering as well? Do you do calligraphy?
I do lettering. I don't call myself a calligraphist. I don't. I could do much better at my calligraphy, but I do hand lettering, the kind that you sketch out and then paint in and make sure it's perfect. So
Oh
you'll
my
see some of
gosh.
that on my cookies too. Yeah.
So do you have a picture of your newspaper cookie?
Oh, I think I do. Let me find it. Well, screen share. I bet you it's on here somewhere.
I was going to say I would totally love to see that. I would love it, love it.
Okay, let's find it. Oh, here it is.
Oh my gosh. Ah! Well, see, now that lettering looks awesome.
Yep, she had a happy birthday for sure. I can work on my portraits a little more, but every artist will say that about their artwork.
You know what? You never reach a point where you're absolutely happy at yourself.
Oh
That's
yeah,
just part of the process.
there's a better picture of the motherhood cookie there.
That is awesome. I totally love that. So do you make those for like new mothers and
I could. I
you
mean,
could
now my business is very young, so
still growing, still
yep,
growing.
I'm
Follow
willing
the
to do
cookies.
anything. Yep. Let me stop sharing before I make you dizzy from my scroll.
Like, no,
Scroll.
I can read that fast, Mindy. I
Yes,
love it.
I am open to anything, and the way I'm making myself unique, other than that I do artwork on cookies, is I will make you a custom flavor as well as a custom design.
How do you make a custom flavor? Like if I say, all right, I like chocolate.
Yeah.
What would you do with that?
Well, I've got two signature flavors, and one is browned butter, and the other is chocolate. So chocolate's already covered.
And what's
Uh,
the other one? Brown.
Browned butter. So it's a sugar cookie, but it has browned butter, and it makes it a little
Okay.
more rich. Um,
That
I just
actually sounds good too.
Oh, it's delicious. I have to bake an extra one when I make them because they taste so good. Um,
I would make no profits at all. I have a sweet tooth. I would eat them all.
well, I can't bake when my son is home because he demands payment.
I understand that. I think he has a good head for business.
Yeah, already at 2.5, he's got it. So,
He knows how to make a buck. I love it.
so custom flavor. Let's see. I'm baking cookies for my sister's bridal shower, and she requested tea flavor. So I've got three tea flavored cookies I'm doing right
What?
now.
Wait a minute, wait a minute. Go back. How do you flavor them like tea? Do you
So
make tea and put it in the batter?
there's a couple different ways. You can add tea concentrate. So you'd make tea, you'd boil it down, you'd add the syrup to your dough. You can infuse your butter. So you can melt your butter, put tea bags in the melted butter, let it infuse, and then drain it all out. But I actually opted for grinding the tea into a powder and adding it directly into the dough.
No, wait. You ground the tea leaves
Yep,
into a powder and then
yep,
put it in the dough.
yep.
How do you even know? I didn't know you could make tea syrup or anything. So where does all this information come from, young lady?
Research and experimenting. I mean, there's a lot of cookie batches that my husband and son do get to eat because they're test batches. So,
Test batches. Yeah,
mhm.
I suppose if you're going to try anything new, you got to taste them.
Yep, absolutely.
Ah, okay. Well, I think that's absolutely amazing. So the worst part is dealing with people's kind of limiting beliefs about what's going on, and the
Yeah.
best part is just sitting with a blank cookie and creating. That sounds like I have to tell you, I love cookies, but this actually sounds like a lot of work to me. I
It is.
suppose it's a labor of love for you, right? Because
Oh,
I
absolutely.
Yeah, okay, because I'm thinking someone, my sister-in-law does like counted cross stitch. And so she's holding this material and she's counting. I said to her, and I'm looking, I put my glasses on. I said, what are you counting? She goes, the little squares. I said, I don't see any little squares, you know? So she can do that for like hours on end. I can sit and paint for 4 or 5 hours, but I could never do that. So I think what it comes down to is, yeah, they are a labor, but they can be a labor of love, certainly. And they absolutely have to be for you. You put a lot of effort into those things.
I
So does
do.
it bother you that people are just going to eat them after? Like if
No,
I want them to like be there forever.
no, eat them, please.
Eat those cookies. I'm gonna be like, oh my God, don't bite that. Don't touch that.
I get that reaction a lot. And I tell
Yeah,
them, just take a picture. Just take a picture.
take a picture and eat the cookie.
That's
I
right.
don't know. I don't know. I would have to order two, one to kind of varnish for eternity, and the other one I would eat. So I'd have to get.
Well,
Apparently, I'd have to
that's
get
the
two.
artist reaction now,
As the
isn't
artist reaction, it's like, wait, wait. I spent 5 hours on this cookie. What do you mean you're gonna eat it?
it? Oh yeah, you should see. I do get really close to tears when I drop a cookie that I've spent that
Ah,
time on.
oh my God! I didn't even think of that. Have you
It's
dropped many cookies?
a couple.
Okay. All right. So now when you make your cookies, you make extra in case you drop one, right?
I do,
Okay,
yes.
good girl. I was gonna say, all right. So, all right. So associations, Greater Havel Arts Association, Chelmsford Art Association. Did you mention Chelmsford? I know you're exhibiting there, working
Yeah,
there.
I am part of the old Millhouse Coffee artist collaborative. You walk into their coffee house and there's all sorts of artists there.
I now maybe I'm just dating myself, but Chelmsford used to have their own art society. It was the first ribbon I ever got, and it was a
Oh,
rodeo clown at the Shriners Auditorium in Wilmington, the rodeo. So I think they do have, I think they still have an art society there and
probably.
Newburyport as well. But when you were talking about exhibiting your cookies and the cost of the cookies, and I have to tell you, if someone's going to eat those cookies, then they probably are going to be kind of price conscious about it. But there are some big shows that are in Boston every single year. And those folks are used to spending the kind of money that you're talking about. And in a lot of cases, they're looking for things to add to their art collections. So I don't know how they feel about eating them, but I think that they absolutely would appreciate. I do, it totally floors me. I have seen decorated cookies before, but to be honest with you, I never really, this is going to sound so naive. I just never really thought of it as an art form. And then
Yeah.
when I met you and I'm looking at the cookies you had, I'm like, oh my God, this is like a little, a little canvas that she's painting on. So you must have all the patience in the world. Do you?
I, when it's something you love, like you said,
So, yeah. Then you have
my Italian hands, but
it. That when you do it the right way, it's okay. It doesn't matter.
yeah.
Comprende. Yeah, yeah. Oh,
I
that's
actually,
French.
I actually do a blank cookie with an outline on it, like a coloring book,
Uh-huh.
and you get a little palette and a brush, and you can color it. Yeah.
Wow. I thought I met a lot of creative people, but that's really it's not out there weird. It's just outside the box,
I
really.
actually have one. You want me to go get it?
Of course, of
Okay.
course. Yay. You have to see these cookies in person and absolutely get on her website and look at some of this stuff. Absolutely amazing. And then when you see them in real life, you just kind of sit there and look at them and go, all right, is this really a cookie? Because I actually, when I first saw them, I thought they were actually little pieces of artwork. And then when she told me I could eat them, I'm like, oh no, I'm not eating them.
Okay, so here's the paint your own cookies,
Oh my God.
like a little coloring book style.
Yes.
And then it comes with a little palette and brush.
And the palette is frosting,
It's no, it's food coloring.
food coloring. I knew
Yeah.
that.
So you just add a drop of water, and then you
Yeah.
can
And
paint
then you
on.
can color your cookie. So the white on the cookie is frosting.
Yeah, so it's royal icing. And the really cool thing about watercoloring on royal icing, because I'll do it as well on some of the other cookies, is that if you don't like it, you just get your brush wet again and you can erase it.
That's like real watercolor, actually. And that's amazing. I'm totally amazed. And where now these are all professionally packaged. You sending them out? You doing it yourself?
I do it myself. Yep, I've got a fun little heat sealing tool that I use to seal them up after they're completely dry.
And are
Um,
you making those labely things that are on there too? Because it says
yes,
pink eye.
yes, I'm a graphic designer,
Well,
first and
that
foremost.
that's right. You did say that. I'm
Yeah,
like so bowled over by everything you do. That's like totally amazing to me.
yep,
Well,
yep.
you, my darling, are absolutely awesome, awesome, awesome.
Well, thank
So,
you.
unless you have more you want to share with us, because we'd be happy to see it, tell people how they can get a hold of you if they want to order, if they want to see more of your stuff.
Oh, sure. So mindypaper.com, Mindy, Mindy, paper, paper.com.
No spaces.
No spaces. That's the website. Click it in, you'll get there. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram, same name.
And you
It's
have an Etsy
very,
shop. Did I see that you had an Etsy shop?
yeah, it hasn't moved in a while.
Okay,
There's
so
some
forget
stuff
the
on
Etsy
there,
shop.
but yeah,
Right.
but not cookies. So the only downside of my cookies is I can't ship outside of Massachusetts.
Oh, oh,
That's one of the rules. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Why
They want
now?
to
Do
keep
you
you
know
little.
why? Say
Yeah,
what?
they want to keep you little. So because I'm working out of my home kitchen,
Oh,
I
that's
have a
why.
lot of limitations. But if when I step up to commercial, then I can start shipping. But check out my website, check me out
Oh,
on Facebook, check me out on Instagram, send me an email. Any of that will work.
you are absolutely awesome, my dear. Keep up the good work. And are you going to the 50th anniversary mañana tomorrow?
I'm going to try. I have a conflicting event, but we'll see what happens.
Well, if you are there, I will see you there.
That's right.
Thank you so, so much for joining us. This has been absolutely amazing. I love it.
You're welcome. And I hope to see you all the Saturday before Mother's Day in Chelmsford. Come to my table, buy some beautiful cookies for your mother or for yourself.
You will not be disappointed. These cookies are absolutely awesome. Thank you. Thank you again, my darling. Bye for
Thank you.
now.
Bye.